Hey Simon, you okay?
Yeah, great, Paul. How you doing?
Yeah, good. It's a nice sunny day, so it's a bit weird to be stuck indoors, really, isn't it? It's been
Yeah, it feels like that. Well, I've got a window behind me where I can just about see how sunny it is. But the rest of the time, I'm just stuck here, sat in front of my screens, wishing I could be outdoors.
yeah. Oh, it's nearly the weekend. If the weekend kind of means much at the moment, because it's, it's the
Yeah,
same.
quite. I don't know what day of the week is it today. I've lost touch really.
Uh, Absolutely. So I've known you a number of years. Very active in Taunton, and lots of people will know you. But those that don't know you, if you'd like to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, sure, no problem, Paul. So, my name's Simon. I'm one of the four directors at Blackdown Financial Advisors in Taunton. I've just turned 50. I celebrated my 50th birthday in
Hey,
April during lockdown. Thank you very much. And yes, I know I look at
happy
least that
birthday.
age. I had a very hard paper round as a lad. Uh, my, my career has been financial services centric. So 25 years now as an advisor, providing independent advice to people on anything from savings, investments and mortgages, that sort of thing, in and around the Taunton and the southwest of England. So my pleasure from work is derived from really helping people with their financial planning. And as a director of Blackdown, that's a company which has been going for 46 years now. I've managed to extend that business a little bit and work with the current directors to provide as good a service as we can in the Taunton area. I love the job, love the work. It's great dealing with people, normally face to face rather than like this, because it also gives me time to follow my real passions, which are all about sport. So I'm absolutely sport mad. Played a lot of rugby and cricket as a younger, fitter bloke, and it gives me time now to follow some of those passions when I'm not working. So as well as being a family guy with a couple of kids who are now 9 and 7 now, growing up quickly, my work is kind of really enjoyable and giving me flexibility to do the things that I enjoy in life.
Excellent. So that's a nice place to be, isn't it? So yeah.
It is, yeah. And we talk about nice places to be. I now live not in Taunton. I live just outside Bath and commute to Taunton. So Taunton, my home, is where I'm born and bred. That's my background, But I live near Bath now, which gives me time to go and watch my favourite rugby team play as often as possible, alongside being back in Taunton watching Taunton rugby play. So I have a good balance of work and life, to be fair.
Good, excellent. So how's everybody been adjusting to home working? How's it been with everybody at Blackdown?
That's a great question. We took an early decision to try and work remotely. So we're fortunate that our business model is a very online business. A lot of it is cloud-based anyway. And so for me personally, I always worked at home 1 or 2 days a week and was set up comfortably with all my resource around me. We had to then take the decision to move our administrators home as well. And that was a bigger job, really, get them to work as well using the services that we've got in place. So all of our work is now conducted remotely. And after a week or two of some teething problems, getting used to everybody using Zoom, for example, which is fantastic. Once we got that all in place, we found that our business was not affected unduly. We're fortunate; our clients are really close to us, and and they're really happy to deal with this in whatever way it might be, whether it's like this or over the phone. We found that we could contact and communicate really well with them, really efficiently. And although yes, business volumes have been down a bit in the last 2 months, mainly because the housing market was switched off and our mortgage business dried up. Our investment business and pension management is still very busy, and those things don't stop just because the economy is slowing down. So yeah, we're taking a bit of a hit in our top line revenues, but we're really lucky to be an established business and fortunate to be able to practice like we do in this manner. So interesting changes, but it's been okay.
Excellent. That's good to hear, because it's been interesting doing these videos, how different sectors have been affected. And do you think, I guess part of it in some of the different sectors has been people having some time out to think about what they want to do, what's important to them. Do you think that maybe has impacted and people have now got time to think about financial planning in the future?
Yeah, you're spot on. I've had a number of new clients come to us who may have started a conversation a couple of years ago, and then being busy business people deferred making decisions. And one person came back very recently and she said to me, I'm working from home now, Si. I've actually got a bit more time. I thought about talking to you more about my pension. Let's crack on and do it. And we've now dealt with her pension advice, which has been put back a couple of years. And so you're very right. It's a great point to make. You know, more people have a bit more time, and they might spend a bit more time thinking about their finances. And you know, that's where we come in. And you know, our whole process is around and based upon giving people what we call lifetime advice, financial planning for their life, not just arranging a mortgage or arranging a life policy or just doing a transaction. It's about planning. And so now people are thinking, you know, what's my life like and what do I want it to be like in the future? And then they think about, well, how are my savings and investments set up to help me achieve that plan? And that has resulted in more inquiries for us as business. And nobody enjoys the current environment. You know, some of the scenarios are heartbreaking, as we all know. And, you know, a good friend of mine just very recently was in the ICU in Musgrove and was only given a 10% chance of survival. Fortunately, he came out when he wasn't expected. And, you know, he phoned me afterwards and said, I really want to talk about things, Si. You know, I feel a different man now than I did 2 months ago because of what I've been through. And I've got a young family and, you know, maybe I should take some of that advice that was available. And those stories will really bring home to us, you know, how people feel right now. A lot of us feel a bit nervous and a bit anxious. And our job is to try and alleviate some of those fears and concerns financially if we can. So going back to your point, yeah, you know, it's people have maybe just stood back a bit and thought, maybe I need to give more attention or pay more attention to certain aspects of my life, which I didn't do before. And that certainly makes us very busy.
No, that's good to hear. It's busy and able to help lots of people. I think speaking to people on the different videos, there are, you know, Laura from OD Talent Solutions and Recruitment, for instance. There are going to be a lot of people saying to her that are maybe thinking about, you know, people are thinking life's too short. What's my purpose? Am I in a job that fulfills me? In your instance, it's, you know, am I looking towards the future? Am I protecting my family, etc.? And we've gone from being like everybody wanting to cancel their marketing because they've wanted to cut back and actually close shop and actually take stock of things, to now going, well, actually, we've pivoted our business. We need to go and promote this new product. We're now selling online that we weren't before, or we need to tell people that we're open. And it's been interesting that kind of, you know, everybody stand off, take what happens. And one of the things I noticed you mentioned was the time, and how much has time helped you working from home in terms, and how do you think that's impacted things?
Well, I'm really, really fortunate in that one aspect, because living in Bath and commuting to Taunton 3 or 4 days a week takes me 2 or 3 hours a day, i.e. 1 working day a week out of my diary. Yeah. So I've all straight away saved that time, giving me that extra time to work at my desk. And so that has created opportunity to do things in a different way, without the time in the car, and also without being tired from the driving. You know, because I would get home, I'd leave early at 7 in the morning, I might get home 7 or 8 in the evening. I'd be pretty exhausted by the end of that day. And that would affect my ability to perform as well as I might wish to the next day in work. So that's, for me, has been an advantage. And I feel that more people have reflected on how they've spent their time as well. So even if they didn't have so much of a commute to do, a lot of us spend time just getting to and from, in and out of Taunton can be a challenge, as we all know. Yeah. You know, the traffic around Taunton is never easy. So, you know, even though I'm saving 3 or 4 hours, my client's probably saving an hour or 2 as well, maybe in some cases. And I think they've taken a step back. They've taken a different view. They've said exactly what you said. You know, what's actually most important to me? You know, is it these really flashy, extravagant items that I'm paying for on credit, or actually is it more about my longer term health and welfare, and my family's health and welfare? And maybe the balance is shifting right now between spending more money on short term things which don't really give any value, to looking at the longer term goal. And that, you know, that kind of dovetails nicely with what we do, because you know, we all want to have a nice fun time in the short term, of course we do, but you know what, we've got to think about what's around the corner. You know, I plan for my retirement at, you know, 60, 65 maybe, if I'm lucky enough. But do I know if I'm going to have enough money when I get there to retire? Yeah. And now more people have switched onto it and thought, what if I haven't saved enough? Or, you know, what if something went wrong during this journey from here to there? You know, and it's an enlightening experience for people when they sit down and think. And we've definitely seen more people just saying, actually, this is a real tough time. how am I affected, and how might I choose to be different in the future?
Yeah, no, that's some really really good points there. Because often we are running around like crazy when we're not really thinking about long-term planning, which we need to do, because it's, time whizzes by. I mean, you see your kids when they're born and then suddenly they're like teenagers and you think, Christ, where did that time go?
Yeah,
And we've
it's
all,
funny, isn't it? Because in our lives, nothing could be more boring than talking about pension. Trust me, sometimes you can't make it very exciting or sexy. Trust me, it doesn't happen. But what you can do is make it more relevant to people's actual plans. And when we talk to them about not the pound notes, we talk to them about actually, what would you like to do when you retire? How do you want to spend your retirement? What does it look like? Then we plug into it, how much might that cost you? And so all of a sudden, our clients look at it differently, and more people are coming to us right now because more people are thinking about what they want their picture to look like.
Yeah, that's good. And more time for cricket and rugby as well there for you.
Well, there would be, hopefully. We talk about that right now. I'm waiting. I coach cricket as well to kids in my area, and there's obviously no cricket, no sport at all right now, which is really killing me. And I'm waiting for some news from the ECB about when we might be able to start doing some coaching with the kids and maybe start playing again. But I fear that we're a good few weeks away from that, maybe 4 to 6 weeks. And in the normal world, whatever that might look like, when we get back to playing sport, then it's those simple pleasures that people need to focus on, I think, and not be greedy, just maybe settle for something which is intrinsically more enjoyable.
Yeah. No, it's good. In terms of the financial markets, then obviously there's lots of talk at the moment about is it going to be a recession, and how are we going to come out of this? I wondered if things are starting to move slowly. We've got estate agents now are having to change the way that they're having to view people around houses on virtually first, and then go and take people around. And how do you sort of see the market recovering? Or what do you?
I get asked that one every hour, I reckon, every hour of the day. I think that we've come through one of the biggest market shocks in history. Back a little bit of background, up to sort of mid-February, the markets had reached an all-time high, pretty much. And then overnight, the pandemic starts out of China, and we could see the ripple effect there very quickly. And the stock market went down by, at its worst point, 30%. It fell by 30%. Absolutely chaos on the markets. During the month of April, markets bounced back a little bit. They actually came back up by about 10 to 12% across the globe. So there was a bit of recovery, but what we've seen is real volatility, no certainty at all. Coming out of this correction, the stock market's going to take, in our view, 18 months to 2 years, if we're lucky. It's going to be quite a long process. People talk about the shape of the recovery, whether it's V-shaped or U-shaped. We have a feeling that it will be more U-shaped, i.e. it will take a little bit longer to recover. Because I'm concerned, and we're concerned, that there's potentially a nasty second bout of the virus. And all the government strategy right now is about how can we prevent that from happening. And I think that's a really tough one to do, and I don't envy our government at all. We feel that if that can be managed, then there will be a slow recovery. But even just today, the markets went down 4% in trading this morning. There's a huge drop in value in 1 or 2 hours, mainly because there are signs over in China that it's on the increase again. There's a tick up again in the number of cases. So we've got to watch that closely. Investments are on the way back up a little bit, but it's going to be a slow affair. Property market wise, we know the estate agents are reopening in some format or other. I think the future of estate agency is going to look very different than it does now. I think the days of having great big flashy offices and flashy desks and chairs and all that, lots of staff are gone. I think they should remodel to make themselves a more online platform-based business. And I think we'll see some people doing that. But, our friends, I've got friends in the business, as you and I both have, and, they're from Monday, they're reopening with one person in the office, one person out conducting viewings, and that's about it. And the housing market, my view, I don't want to be a pessimist on this, but I think prices will probably correct and come down maybe 10 to 15% over the next 6 months. I think the second half of the year, we'll see house prices come down. I cannot see any way that can be prevented. Transactions in the month of March were at an all-time low. They dropped 90% compared to the same month the year before. and even that wasn't very busy. I think the government has to try and generate revenues by getting stamp duty receipts in, so they push the estate agency forward into the front line to try and get the housing market moving. There's something like £85 billion worth of property sales locked up right now, which have been put on hold since pre-COVID. And they want to get that through because then they'll get all the stamp duty on the back of it. So that's understandable. But housing market-wise, I think the market's going to take a knock. I think that would take best part of 12 months to return to maybe what it was at Q1 values. And it's, as you can probably tell, I get really passionate about this sort of thing. I think that the markets, none of the markets will be enjoyable to ride with for the next 6 months. Opportunities will come up. People will take advantage of those, but the general trends will be negative, I feel, in terms of the housing market, and a slow increase in terms of positive terms for shares in the UK and globally. But you know what, mate? None of us thought was coming in February. I was actually away on holiday in February when it kicked off, and I didn't know if I was going to get back into the UK. And but even then, nobody really saw the warning signs of how bad this might become, and how that would really knock every marketplace that we work in. And everyone uses the word unprecedented, and it is. I'm 50 years old. I've done this for 25 years. I haven't seen anything like this, and I talked to much wiser and older people than me who said, never seen anything like this. What's going to happen? And I can tell you what will happen is that we'll continue working really hard. We're working with our investors. They're all very comfortable in what we're doing for them, and we're pleased that they've not been affected as badly as they may have been by the markets. But we've got a long way to go. It's going to be an interesting and tough old journey, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, there's unprecedented. It's affecting everybody in different ways. I think it's going to take time. I mean, we were looking to buy a home this year, and remember Boris's 2020 is the year, and you look back and also, like you say, things are changing day by day. We're looking at when we come back with certain services that we offer, and you think, right, well, let's just wait, and then something else comes out, and you go, okay. So it's going to be in those sort of gradual process, isn't it? How it unfolds.
It is. I could quote an example. I had a call from one of my clients' sons today, and he's a young guy in his mid-20s, might want to buy his first property. He's been saving hard, and he said to me, I just thought I'd get back in touch to see if it might be a good time to buy now. And I said, well, it might be a good time for you, or it might not be. It depends what good looks like to you.
Yeah.
And he said, well, what do you mean by that? I said, well, if you can't stand living at home anymore, then you want to buy somewhere. It's a good time. But equally, I've got a view that house prices might drop a little bit. So in 6 months' time, what you see now could be 10% less, i.e. it will be better in 6 months' time.
Yeah.
And he said, oh God, I didn't realise that. He said, I don't think I want to spend my money today if it might mean that I've lost out in 6 months' time. And that's a real question, and it's like, do we jump in or not? For his circumstances, for example, I said, well, if you bought a house and it did go down in value, don't worry about it, because you're not going to move for a while anyway. And in 5 years' time, it'll be worth more again. So you'll be okay. And that short-term pain, which you might see, you'll just ignore it. I think unless you really are forced into any decisions at the moment, I think everyone just needs to be patient and take stock a little bit, and then really have a good look at their options. I guess estate agents out there probably wouldn't like to hear someone like me saying that, but personally, I feel there's a bit of change coming in that market.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting how things get shaken up. And although I was going to ask you, I don't suppose you bought shares in Zoom then?
No one accused me of doing that, because I pushed Zoom on day one for our business, and everyone else was going, I don't know about Zoom, as it got the security that we need, and then there was that awful escapade where somebody had jumped into someone else's Zoom meeting and added some unsavory content, I think. Gladly, it wasn't my business. I know they've upped their security, which is great. If I'd have seen it coming, I'd have bought.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. It's been great covering different subjects there, and I'm glad it's working out for the team working from home. You're able to provide the great service which you have for many years. I'm going to ask you now the question to sort of end things, Simon. So if you weren't in financial service sector, or when you were a young Simon, only a couple of years ago at school, what did you want to be when you grew up?
That's always a great question, mate. When I was about 15 years of age, back in the mid 80s, they did things at our school which was called choosing options about your future. And you put a load of data in, and it would spew out a report telling you what you should do for a career. And you're going to like this. I came out as being, as a preferred route and a preferred career should have been a sports teaching vicar. You know,
Really?
how they got that bit? The sports teaching I knew, but I couldn't stand religious education, so I don't know. But you know what? That was what I was told I should do. I really wanted to be a professional sportsman, but never made the grade. Beyond that, I thought, well, maybe I might go and I'd like to be in the RAF or do something like that. And none of that panned out, and I ended up being an estate agent, followed by a financial planner. So, you know, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I love that. That's great. I did something similar. I remember at school, and it's just like, what? It's some profiling.
Yeah.
Do you like working with animals? Or?
All the education's gone to such hard work that I'm going to find the Lord and become a PE teaching vicar. There you go.
Oh, it's been great catching up with you, and thanks for your time today and some good advice there. So I'll share some details for yourself. People want to get in touch to talk about planning their future and where they are right now and where they want to go later on. It's been great. So thanks so much for taking part. Look after yourself, even.
Yeah, thank you, mate. It's very kind of you to ask us to comment, especially when I look at the esteemed people that you've been interviewing. And I'm honoured for you to ask me to give you some comment.
No, my pleasure. So great. Look after yourself and speak to you soon. All right.
Cool.
Cheers, Simon. Bye. Bye.